Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to review the 2018 science fiction film The Predator, the sequel to the Predator franchise. I'm a huge fan. I can't tell you how much of a huge fan I am of the original Predator, the Arnold Schwarzenegger film. One of my favourite films of all time. Absolutely adore it. It's my favourite Arnold film. And I think it's fair to say this franchise, the Predator franchise, has had a rocky few sequels. Predator 2 is arguably a decent sequel, but it's not brilliant, but it's okay. Predators was okay, but again, not fantastic. And Aliens vs Predator and Aliens vs Predator Requiem, we all know what that's all about. So I've been deeply anticipating this film, The Predator, for a number of reasons, and one of those is the fact that Shane Black is in charge of this film. He's directed it. He's one of my favourite directors. He was in the original Predator as Hawkins, but he has created, I think, over the last few years, some of the greatest Hollywood films that barely anyone talks about. The Nice Guys and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, to name but two amazing movies. I think he's hugely talented as a director and a writer. So I thought this franchise was going to be in safe hands with Shane Black, so I've been really looking forward to it. Lots of rumblings with this film in regards to the troubled production, reshoots, all that kind of stuff. Leaked scripts that people weren't keen on. All this controversy in regards to hiring paedophiles. This has had a rocky production, and it's not having an easy ride. And it has now been released to cinemas. I think it's fair to say it's been reasonably well received, but I have seen some pretty scathing reviews also of this film. But I've really wanted to watch it, so I've been to see this film. What do I think of this film? Well, whereas I don't think it's the sequel I really wanted, I do think for the most part they've done a pretty good job with this sequel, and I think it's the strongest sequel of it stands next to the original Predator in regards to it's a decent sequel to that, and I think and this film, like I say, directed by Shane Black, it's got Boyd Holbrook in it. We have Olivia Munn and Thomas Jane, as well as others, and this film focuses on Boyd Holbrook's character Quinn, who at the beginning of the movies he's a sniper captain. He's got his own team. They're out in Mexico, I think, somewhere, and there's a Predator ship crash lands. That it seems to be being chased by another Predator ship. Crash lands, takes out his team, gets captured basically, this Predator, and Quinn's character steals a lot of Predator equipment and sends it home, thinking he can keep that safe and out of government hands. He also gets captured. They get taken to a secret military base. He gets put on a bus with a load of other misfits, and lo and behold, this captured Predator escapes. Surprise, surprise. Causes chaos. He's got to get his team together, get out alive, then get home, because he realises this Predator is actually looking for the equipment that he sent home to his autistic son. And then we also learn, and this isn't a spoiler, you've seen it in the trailers, there is an evolved Predator, a huge 11-foot Predator that is chasing this other Predator for reasons that you will learn about when you watch the film. And a huge battle ensues between this original Predator, this evolved Predator, all these soldiers, Olivia Munn, everybody, for supremacy. That's about all I want to say on the story, really, without giving spoilers away. What did I think of this film? I thought it was okay, guys. Aspects of it I really enjoyed. However, there are a lot of things with this film I didn't particularly appreciate. I'll go through some of them first. I didn't understand why he would send this Predator equipment home to his autistic son. Well, not necessarily to him, but he sent it home because he wanted to keep them out of harm's reach. It just seemed like a bizarre decision for a military mind thinking man to do, because it just put them right in the firing line. Olivia Munn plays a scientist, like a biologist, and she goes from 1 minute in the lab to 5 minutes later jumping on top of buses with a machine gun chasing a predator. You know, that transition didn't make a lot of sense to me. You know, wearing a lab coat and talking all sciencey to the next minute charging about jumping on top of buses and stuff. Some of the dodgy quotes. I mean, someone actually says in this film, "Get to the chopper." I didn't really appreciate that. It almost felt like an insult to Arnie, that, to a degree. A lot of people have had things to say about the humanist movie. I thought it was okay. I thought it was nicely balanced. I was expecting it to be a laugh a minute, and it wasn't. The jokes were sprinkled about now and again, but they weren't all over the movie. I don't think. I thought they were reasonably appropriate. Thomas Jane's character has Tourette's in this film, and while that's interesting to watch and unavoidably funny sometimes, I don't know why it needed to be in there, to be honest, in the film. I didn't like the characters. A lot of the characters in this film, even though they weren't particularly fleshed out, they almost felt like cartoon characters, caricatures of like these military men. They all had these different personalities and they all did different things. It was almost like, you know, what you would see in a comic book almost. But I did like them. I thought they all had their little quirks, and it did make it an interesting bunch to watch on screen, I suppose you could say. And to be honest, I would have liked to have seen some of this in the daytime. The majority of this was set at night in this film, all night, and even the original Predator was brave enough to show a lot of it during the day. I think it was only really the last fight at the end between Arnie and the Predator that was all at night. The rest of it was pretty much during the day, apart from a few other scenes here and there. This was all at night, and I would have really preferred to have seen some of this during the day, to be honest. And I don't really understand why they didn't really add to the horror or the tension. And where was the horror? I think one of the things that made the first Predator so great was that it was a horror movie first and the sci-fi movie second. It was scary at times. So it wasn't, even though it was pretty gory and there's some gruesome scenes in it, very gruesome scenes actually now and again. You couldn't class this film as a horror. It needed to be scarier than it was. So those are my main niggles with this film. But in regards to the positives, it's well made, the action's good, the effects are very good, and the acting's fine throughout. I don't have a problem with any of that movie. I thought it was highly entertaining, this film. Just not the Predator film that I really wanted. It did add to the lore a little bit, and I've seen some scathing attacks on the ending of this film. To be honest, I could take or leave the ending. I thought the ending was alright, if I'm honest. Didn't hate it, didn't love it, didn't really have a problem with it. So yeah, I'm going to give this film 7.5 out of 10, guys. I'm a little bit disappointed with it. I'd like to watch it a couple more times to see really where it stands for me. But yeah, a little bit on a downer with this. I did enjoy it. I thought there were aspects of it that worked, but I thought there were aspects of it that didn't as well. So yeah, there you go, guys. The Predator. If you like this review, don't forget to click that like button, and thank you all very much for watching.